Greetings all, Shane Bruce with Restomod Daisy. Hey, it's a happy day here at Restomod. We've got 3 guns that came in for work, ready to go back to the owner at long last. It's a lengthy process on these guys. There was some parts waiting involved, but by and large, it's just me being pokey. 3 guns to talk about, all of them pretty damn neat. The 2 guns here at the top, that's a number 111 Model 40. The one below it is also a 111 Model 40, and this one down here that has been resto-modded is a Model 94 Daisy. Treasured customer sent these to me. He picked up this copper band Red Ryder, and he was immediately wanted an opinion on it. And in terms of a copper band Red Ryder, it's got the things you look for. It has the peen front sight, it's got a copper band, but this one had an extra added attraction, had a copper plated trigger as well. And I don't know what to think of it. I've never seen a copper trigger, copper banded Red Ryder before. It's bladed, it's nicely done, just like the other 2 copper bands are done. But is it, in fact, the treasured copper band Red Ryder? I don't know. I do know it's a damn nice Red Ryder. Has a cast iron lever, super duper. It is a model number 111 Model 40 Red Ryder, if we can get that rolled over so you can read it. And this one had a special repair done on it. Let's take a look at the rear sight base. The rear sight base had detached from the receiver. It's not uncommon on these guns. You get something hooked on there, it pops off. It was also missing the elevator screw. So I managed to find another elevator screw and silver soldered the base back in place. And since we wanted to leave this gun in an original finish look, I'm very pleased with how this turned out. As you can see, it's a little bare steel here and there, some dark freckling from previous rust episodes that have turned into a nice oxide coat. It's a nice, smooth, slick feeling gun. I believe it to have walnut stocks. They're a little flat, but that's because the varnish is long gone. If we'll take a look down here on the buttstock, we can see the Fred Harmon signature imprint on the Red Ryder logo. And I'm thinking it's walnut. I'm not sure. It could be popular. It's really tough to tell when you're looking at 80-year-old wood furniture. But good little gun. After some, when it showed up, it didn't have an air tube that had been broken off at some intermediate time in the past. So we put an overbore air tube in it. The factory spring was sacked. We replaced that with a Cobalt 327 spring, which is the closest you're going to find to the original factory strength. And found a shot tube that worked really well with it. So this gun is really humping. It will get up to about 297. With a couple of shots on the chronograph that put it over 300. So I'm going to put it in thumper class just because it's such a classic. Now the one underneath it is also a number 111 Model 40, as you can see from the roll print. And it has the fixed rear sight because it's a later production version. Also has the painted aluminum lever. So this would be a 46-47. Same basic issue with this gun. The air tube had been broken off, and the leather seal on the abutment washer had been pounded on so many times that it had actually filled up the aperture for installing a bottle cap. You couldn't get a bottle cap in the gun when I got it. So we got that sussed out, sorted out, and then replaced the, now this one's running its original mainspring, but we put a high performance air tube in it with a new seal set, and then found a shot tube that would work good for the gun. And this little guy here is running. It's doing 347 feet a second. So this particular 111, number 111 Model 40, I've got to put in the super thumper class because it almost gets to the mythical 350 feet a second. Pretty sharp gun. Not as controversial as the copper banded gun, but a good solid piece. And you know, the stock is in good shape. It's a little grainier than Poplar, so I'm not quite sure what the story is on it. It has kind of an oak look to it, just because of the way the grain pattern shapes. And the last gun that was in the trio was a Daisy Model 94. This gun originally showed up with a plastic buttstock, very short. It's not a Red Ryder 94, it's a Model 94. And it had the short, droopy forearm. But the customer said, go ahead on that one and do surface treatment, fire blue it, and upgrade the innards so it works properly, which is what we've done. What we have on this one is the new style Slim Jim stock. This one is not, it's got curl in it. It's got some unusual figure elsewhere. Nice curl on the forearm. This is the factory barrel band that came with these 94s, and it's got this Indian motif on it. It's kind of neat, and it also says Daisy. right at the top. That's kind of slick. It's got the Model 94 adjustable rear sight and the big hook front sight. And after our messing around with it, this one will run about 314. So it's thumper class gun. It's nice and slender. It's a good contrast, I think, in the angle of attack on the rest of the stock. Some minor differences, but it mounts pretty much the same as a standard Red Ryder. Just looks better. So we're done with these 3 guns. They'll be getting boxed up and heading back to their home in the middle of the United States of America. Hopefully tomorrow, maybe Monday. It depends on how much progress I make. This is Shane Bruce, Rest on my Daisy, signing off.